His Majesty King Hamad bin Isa Al Khalifa sent a cable of condolences to the Emir of Qatar, Azan Sheikh Tamim bin Hamad Al Thani, over the passing of diplomats from the Qatari delegation in a tragic accident in Sharm el-Sheikh, Egypt. His Majesty expressed sincere condolences to His Highness the Emir, the families of the deceased and the people of Qatar. His Majesty prayed to Allah the Almighty to rest the souls of the deceased in eternal peace and grant solace to their families, wishing the injured a speedy recovery. His Majesty King Hamad bin Isa Al Khalifa, in the presence of His Royal Highness the Crown Prince and Prime Minister Prince Salman bin Hamad Al Khalifa, patronized the inauguration of the 4th session of the 6th legislative term of the Shura and Representatives Councils. Upon the arrival of His Majesty's motorcade at Isa Cultural Centre, accompanied by police cavalry, His Majesty was received by the Speaker of the Representatives Council, Ahmed Al-Msalem, and the Chairman of the Shura Council, Ali Al-Saleh.
سيدي حضرة صاحب الجلالة الملك المعظم، سلام. قف.
After the royal anthem was played, His Majesty then proceeded to the main conference hall at Isa Cultural Centre.
بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. سيدي حضرة صاحب الجلالة الملك حمد بن عيسى آل خليفة ملك البلاد المعظم حفظه الله ورعاه، سيدي صاحب السمو الملكي الأمير سلمان بن حمد آل خليفة ولي العهد رئيس مجلس الوزراء حفظه الله ورعاه، أصحاب السمو، أصحاب المعالي والسعادة، أيها السيدات والسادة، السلام عليكم ورحمة الله تعالى وبركاته. يشرفنا أن نرحب بكم أجمل ترحيب في حفل افتتاح دور الانعقاد الرابع من الفصل التشريعي السادس لمجلسي الشورى والنواب. وخير ما نبدأ به تلاوة عطرة من القرآن الكريم.
The ceremony began with recitation of verses from the Holy Quran.
أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. تلك الدار الآخرة نجعلها للذين لا يريدون علوا في الأرض ولا فسادا والعاقبة للمتقين من جاء بالحسنة فله خير منها، ومن جاء بالسيئة فلا يجزى الذين عملوا السيئات إلا ما كانوا يعملون. إن الذي فرض عليك القرآن لرادك إلى معاد، قل ربي أعلم من جاء بالهدى ومن هو في ضلال مبين. وما كنت ترجو أن يلقى إليك الكتاب إلا رحمة من ربك، فلا تكونن ظهيرا للكافرين. ولا يصدنك عن آيات الله بعد إذ أنزلت إليك، وادع إلى ربك ولا تكونن من المشركين. ولا تدع مع الله إلها آخر، لا إله إلا هو، كل شيء هالك إلا وجهه، له الحكم وإليه ترجعون. صدق الله العظيم. فيكم بارك.
كلمة سيدي حضرة صاحب الجلالة الملك حمد بن عيسى آل خليفة.
His Majesty the King then delivered the following speech.
بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. السلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته. على بركة الله نفتتح أعمال دور الانعقاد الرابع من الفصل التشريعي السادس لأعمال السلطة التشريعية، التي ننظر إلى أدائها بعين الفخر والتقدير، وهي تمارس أصول العمل التشريعي والرغابي، وتنهض بمسؤولياتها الدستورية لمواكبة طموحاتنا الوطنية بالبناء على هذه التجربة المتميزة التي تعود جذورها إلى عهد أجدادنا قادة مملكة البحرين، الذين عملوا على إرساء مبادئ وقيم نظام الحكم المبنية على الشريعة الإسلامية القراء والشورى والعدل والإحسان والتضحية في سبيل الوطن ومراعاة العادات والتقاليد الأصيلة. ولقد كانت هذه المبادئ والقيم وصايا قادة مملكة البحرين لأولياء عهودهم طبقة بعد طبقة، حيث وضعت القواعد التي بني عليها ميثاق العمل الوطني وما ترتب عليه من تعديلات دستورية في عهدنا هذا. كان أهمها نظام المجلسين وتحقيق مبدأ الفصل بين السلطات وعودة الحقوق السياسية للمرأة واستكمال بناء المؤسسات الدستورية. وتظل هذه المبادئ الأصيلة منهاجاً لحياتنا وجزءاً لا يتجزأ من ثقافتنا الحامية للسيادة. ويطيب لنا ونحن نمضي قدماً ضمن مسيرتنا التنموية الشاملة أن نعرب لكم عن ارتياحنا لسير العمل المشترك بين السلطتين التشريعية والتنفيذية، وبإشراف مباشر من قبل صاحب السمو الملكي الأمير سلمان بن حمد آل خليفة ولي العهد ورئيس مجلس الوزراء، وما يثمر عن هذا التعاون الذي نقدر فيه جهود الإخوة رئيسي مجلس الشورى والنواب وجميع الأعضاء من إنجازات تشريعية نوعية تلبي التطلعات الوطنية، لتكون من بينها قرب الانتهاء من إقرار التعديلات على قانون تنظيم الصحافة والطباعة والنشر، باعتباره خطوة مهمة تؤكد القيمة الدستورية لحرية الرأي والتعبير في مملكة البحرين، وتعزز المكانة الرفيعة لإعلامنا الوطني بمختلف وسائله. كما ونؤكد على أهمية استكمال التشريعات اللازمة، وفي مقدمتها ما يتعلق بتعزيز الأمن وتطوير الاقتصاد كي نعزز تنافسية بلادنا المتقدمة على مستوى العالم. ونود أن ننوه في هذا الخصوص بالمبادرة الهامة التي أعلن عنها صاحب السمو الملكي ولي العهد رئيس مجلس الوزراء، والموجهة لأبنائنا وبناتنا من الباحثين عن فرص عمل وظيفية، وما تشتمل عليه من تسهيلات ضرورية تفتح أمامهم المزيد من الخيارات الوظيفية. كما نتوجه بالشكر الجزيل لغرفة تجارة وصناعة البحرين وكافة الشركات والمؤسسات الداعمة لهذا التوجه، ونتطلع إلى تحقيق الاستفادة القصوى من هذه المبادرة الهادفة إلى رفع مستويات المشاركة الوطنية في سوق العمل. الأخوة والأخوات، ولأن التقدم لا يتحقق إلا بقراءة واعية لمعطيات المستقبل ومواجهة تحولاته والاستفادة من فرصه، وهو ما درجنا عليه كنهج ثابت منذ قيام الدولة البحرينية الحديثة، فإننا نوجه باعتماد التوجيهات التالية ضمن أولويات العمل القادمة. ونبدأ بجانب العناية بالهوية الوطنية بما تشمله من مبادئ وقيم معنوية وممارسات أصيلة ترتبط بالإنسان البحريني، وكان لها أبلغ الأثر في بناء قوتها الحضارية المتجددة وقدرة الفائقة على التعلم من دروس التاريخ. وأهم هذه الدروس إعلاء الهوية الوطنية وتعزيز الوحدة الجامعة لكل أطيافه، ورفض مظاهر التعصب والكراهية والولاءات الخارجية، ولله الحمد. أما ثاني تلك التوجهات هو ضرورة التركيز على مسار التطور العلمي والمعرفي المؤدي إلى التمكين والتنويع الصناعي والإنتاج، باعتباره رافداً أساسياً للنمو الاقتصادي المنشود لتقليل اعتماده على مصادره التقليدية. إذ يهمنا أن تراعى توجهات العمل المستقبلية ما تتمتع به البحرين من متانة صناعية حديثة وبيئة خدمية عصرية، لابد من استثمارها وتنويع مساراتها، سواء على صعيد التقدم التكنولوجي ومن خلال التوظيف الأمثل لتقنيات الذكاء الاصطناعي الذي بدأ بالفعل، وخصوصاً في مجالات التعليم والصحة والتصنيع والتنمية الحضرية، أو عبر الاستثمار المركز في مجال الطاقة المتجددة، أو باستكشاف الفرص المتاحة في الفضاء الخارجي لتطوير كافة القطاعات الحيوية وصولاً إلى الاستقلالية المطلوبة لحفظ وتنمية ثرواتنا الوطنية، وفي مقدمتها استدامة البيئة الفطرية والزراعية والمحافظة على مواردنا البحرية، وعلى وجه التحديد تجارة اللؤلؤ الطبيعي التي جعلت اسم البحرين مرادفاً للؤلؤ الأصيل في كل مكان في العالم وفي كل سجل للتاريخ. ولا يفوتنا عند الحديث عن الحاضر والمستقبل أن نثني على سهامات الكوادر البحرينية الشابة التي تحظى باهتمام ومتابعة سمو الشيخ ناصر بن حمد آل خليفة ولعل أهمها الإطلاق الناجح للقمر الصناعي البحريني برمزيته الدالة على سلامة الخطط والبرامج التي تعتني بالتنافسية العلمية والمعرفية استعداداً لغد الوطن المشرق بإذن الله. فهؤلاء الشباب بإنجازاتهم العالمية يؤكدون جاهزيتهم للإسهام في قيادة الحاضر والمستقبل، ويستحقون فرص المشاركة في العمل والتدريب وتحمل المسؤولية لنحافظ على تواصل الأجيال في حمل رسالة الوطن النبيلة. الإخوة والأخوات، تواصل مملكة البحرين جهودها لإحلال السلام العادل والشامل باعتبار ضرورة لا غنى عنها لاستعادة أمن المنطقة واستقرارها. وفي هذا الشأن نعرب عن تقديرنا للجهود الدولية المبذولة لتحقيق هذا الهدف، ونشيد بالدور التاريخي لفخامة الرئيس دونالد ترامب رئيس الولايات المتحدة الأمريكية الصديقة وجهود الوسطاء في وقف الحرب في غزة، ونحث جميع الأطراف على الوفاء بالتزاماتها لتعزيز السلام. وستظل القضية الفلسطينية في صدارة أولويات المملكة خلال عضويتها غير الدائمة في مجلس الأمن للعامين القادمين. ونؤكد دعمنا الثابت لحل الدولتين واستعادة الحقوق المشروعة للشعب الفلسطيني باعتبارها السبيل الأمثل لتحقيق الأمن والازدهار الذي تستحقهما المنطقة. فأمتنا العربية والإسلامية التي احتضنت الأديان السماوية والثقافات المختلفة تمثل نموذجاً للحياة الإنسانية العادلة، ونتطلع إلى أن تنعم بالرخاء الذي يليق بتاريخها المجيد. ولأن التنمية الحقيقية لا تستقيم إلا بإرساء الأمن الشامل كضمان لاستمرار الحياة والعمل والإنتاج، فإننا نعتبر قواتنا الدفاعية والأمنية ركيزة أساسية لتنميتنا، ونحرص على أن تتسلح بأحدث الإمكانيات وأعلى المهارات لتقوم بمهامها في حماية مكتسباتنا وسيادتنا الوطنية. وعلى رأسهم القائد العام المشير أخينا الشيخ خليفة بن أحمد آل خليفة، فله منا ولهم كل الثناء والتقدير. وفي ختام حديثنا نعود لما بدأنا به، وهو الفخر والاعتزاز بمنجزات الوطن الحضارية، ونحمد الله على نعمه الجزيرة، وأولها الإنسان البحريني الذي نعده ثروة بلادنا الحقيقية ووجهها المتحضر والمشرق بالعطاء أينما حضر. فبإسهاماته المتواصلة والجادة استطاع أن يجعل من البحرين وجهة للخير والسلام ومركزاً للإبداع والريادة، ليبقى صيته رمزاً للأخلاق الكريمة والقيم النبيلة. كل ذلك يضع الأولوية لأهل البحرين في الخدمات والمستحقات، سائلين الله للجميع التوفيق والنجاح، ولكم منا كل الدعم لحفظ الأمانة الوطنية من أجل رفعة البحرين وعزتها. والسلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته.
صاحب الجلالة، أيها الحضور الكريم، يلقي الآن معالي السيد أحمد بن سلمان المسلم رئيس مجلس النواب هذه الكلمة.
بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم.
The Speaker of the Representatives Council then delivered a speech in which he expressed gratitude for His Majesty's patronage of the inauguration of the 4th session of the 6th legislative term. He said that this event marks a new phase of parliamentary work based on constitutional norms and national customs, drawing on the noble values and authentic principles of Bahrain under the prosperous era of His Majesty the King in a comprehensive and sustainable development process. Al-Musallam expressed pride and appreciation for the distinguished national experience whose civilizational features and foundations were shaped by the country's leaders. He added that His Majesty's blessed era guided Bahrain towards modernization, sustainable development, and achieved unprecedented levels of progress and prosperity. He affirmed his deep pride and unwavering commitment to national unity, which constitutes the force of democratic renaissance. Al-Musallam also affirmed his keenness to work with determination towards consolidating the authentic Bahraini identity derived from absolute loyalty to the homeland based on the principles of the National Action Charter and the Constitution of the Kingdom to build a proud nation that is increasingly prosperous and advanced, in which the Bahraini citizen always remains at the forefront of development. Al-Musallam expressed his deepest gratitude and appreciation to His Royal Highness the Crown Prince and Prime Minister for his great interest in strengthening cooperation between the government and the legislative authority. He added that His Royal Highness's follow-up have left a clear impact on the continued launch of qualitative projects and initiatives that serve the nation and its citizens, developing work and services, increasing the pace of economic growth, attracting promising investments, and activating strategic partnerships with the private sector. He added that these efforts aimed at providing quality job opportunities for Bahraini youth and raising the standard of living for Bahraini families to achieve the desired goals and objectives. Al-Musallam affirmed his support for the initiative of His Royal Highness to offer 3 job opportunities to every job seeker registered with the Ministry of Labour in fulfillment of His Majesty's aspirations to make the citizen the ultimate goal and objective of development. He commended the constructive cooperation of the Bahrain Chamber of Commerce and Industry and all private sector institutions in providing quality job opportunities for national cadres and preparing them for the labour market. He affirmed his commitment to close cooperation with the Executive Authority in implementation of the Royal Directives and in response to national aspirations. He affirmed keenness to double efforts to develop the legislative system according to modern and advanced methodologies that are in line with His Majesty's vision of promoting responsible freedom of opinion and expression out of belief in the role of national media and its noble mission. Al-Musallam affirmed determination to align legislative work with national directives to stimulate innovation in the industrial sector and expand production in support of economic diversification through effective investment in modern technological means and their application in all fields that achieve progress and prosperity for the nation. He also praised the vital and prominent role played by the Supreme Council for Women, headed by Her Royal Highness, wife of His Majesty the King and President of the Supreme Council for Women, Princess Sabika bint Ibrahim Al Khalifa, which has become a key component of sustainable development. Al-Musallam commended the efforts of the representative of His Majesty the King for humanitarian work in youth affairs and chairman of the Supreme Council for Youth and Sports, His Highness Sheikh Nasser bin Hamad Al Khalifa, and his qualitative achievements in the youth and sport sector at regional and international forums. He expressed appreciation for His Highness's interest and follow-up in the launch of the Bahraini satellite, which represents a bright step towards a bright scientific future. The Speaker affirmed that the Legislative Authority will focus on parliamentary diplomacy to promote Gulf cooperation, enhance Arab unity, strengthen Islamic coordination, and deepen relations with friendly nations globally. These commitments aim to solidify Bahrain's role as a proactive contributor to regional security, peace, and international coexistence. He welcomed the agreement for a ceasefire in Gaza, expressing hopes for a comprehensive peace process and steadfast support for the two-state solution, ultimately restoring the legitimate rights of the Palestinian people and fostering regional development and stability for future generations. He acknowledged the valiant sacrifices of the Palestinian people and hailed their resilience to ensure a global recognition of an independent Palestinian state with East Jerusalem as its capital. He also expressed pride in the exceptional contributions and sacrifices of the PDF, the National Guard, the Ministry of of Interior and all security institutions, hailing their continuous efforts towards the kingdom's advancement, reinforcing Bahrain's dedication to security, development and prosperity under His Majesty's leadership. Limsalem reiterated his loyalty and allegiance to His Majesty the King and wished him good health and happiness.
للتطلعات الوطنية عبر مواصلة الجهود المكثفة لتطوير المنظومة التشريعية وفق منهجيات عصرية متطورة تتناسب مع متطلبات الوقت الراهن، وتكرس رؤية جلالتكم الحكيمة في تعزيز حرية الرأي والتعبير المسؤولة إيمانا بدور الإعلام الوطني ورسالته النبيلة. كما نؤكد لجلالتكم أيدكم الله عزمنا على موائمة عملنا التشريعي مع التوجهات الوطنية لمضاعفة المساعي لتحفيز الابتكار في المجال الصناعي وتكثيف مجالات الإنتاج، دعما للتنويع الاقتصادي واستشرافا للتوجيهات المستقبلية من خلال الاستثمار الفعال للوسائل التكنولوجية الحديثة وتطويعها في كافة المجالات التي تحقق للوطن التقدم والازدهار. صاحب الجلالة، أن الدور الحيوي البارز الذي يقوم به المجلس الأعلى للمرأة برئاسة صاحب السمو الملكي الأميرة سبيكة إبراهيم آل خليفة قرينة الملك المعظم رئيسة المجلس الأعلى للمرأة حفظها الله، أصبح جزءاً رئيسياً ومرتكزاً أساسياً للتنمية المستدامة التي تترجم رؤية جلالتكم من أجل تقدم المرأة البحرينية. كما نثمن جهود سمو الشيخ ناصر بن حمد آل خليفة ممثل جلالة الملك للأعمال الإنسانية وشؤون الشباب رئيس المجلس الأعلى للشباب والرياضة، وما حققه سموه من إنجازات نوعية في المجالات الشبابية والرياضية في المحافل الإقليمية والدولية، مقدرين اهتمام ومتابعة سموه في إطلاق القمر الصناعي البحريني الذي يمثل خطوة مضية نحو مستقبل علمي مشرق. صاحب الجلالة، انطلاقا من السياسة الدبلوماسية الحكيمة بقيادة جلالتكم حفظكم الله ورعاكم وإرث مملكة البحرين التاريخي والحضاري وقيمها الإنسانية، فإننا نؤكد التزامنا في السلطة التشريعية واستنارة بالرؤية المستديدة لجلالتكم تسخير جهود الدبلوماسية البرلمانية بدعم العمل الخليجي المشترك وتطوير التعاون العربي وتوطيد التنسيق الإسلامي وتعزيز العلاقات مع دول العالم الصديقة بما يخدم المصالح العليا للوطن ويرسخ مكانته الرائدة كشريك فاعل في إرساء الأمن والسلم وتحقيق التعايش الإقليمي والدولي في إطار مجتمعات مستقرة ومزدهرة. ونؤكد في هذا السياق الترحيب بالاتفاق الذي تم التوصل إليه بشأن وقف الحرب على قطاع غزة مع تطلع إلى تهيئة مسار سلام شامل وعادل والدعم الثابت لقرار حل الدولتين واستعادة الحقوق المشروعة للشعب الفلسطيني وتحقيق الأمن والاستقرار والتنمية والازدهار للمنطقة ومستقبلها وأجيالها القادمة، معربين عن اعتزازنا وتقديرنا بالصمود الأسطوري للشعب الفلسطيني الشقيق وتضحياته الجسيمة برجاله ونسائه وشيوخه وأطفاله من أجل استعادة حقوقه المغتصبة. هذه التضحيات التي أجبرت العديد من دول العالم مؤخراً على الاعتراف بالدولة الفلسطينية المستقلة وعاصمتها القدس الشرقية، حيث لم يعد ذلك حلماً بعيد المنال بل واقعاً ملموساً فرضه صمود هذا الشعب وإصراره على الحياة والحرية. معربين عن بالغ اعتزازنا بالجهود الكبيرة والجاهزية الشاملة والتضحيات العظيمة لجنودنا البواسل في قوة دفاع البحرين والحرس الوطني ووزارة الداخلية وكافة الأجهزة الأمنية، والشكر والتقدير إلى كافة الكوادر البحرينية في مختلف المواقع والمؤسسات الذين يواصلون العمل والإنجاز بكل إخلاص وتفان وإبداع وابتكار من أجل رفعة مملكة البحرين. ختاماً، نجدد لجلالتكم حفظكم الله ورعاكم كل العهد والولاء، سائلين الله العلي القدير أن يديم على مملكة البحرين الأمن والأمان والتطور والازدهار في ظل رعايتكم جلالتكم الكريمة وتوجيهاتكم الملكية السامية. والسلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته.
The ceremony concluded with the royal anthem, and His Majesty the King and His Royal Highness the Crown Prince and Prime Minister were then bid farewell. His Majesty King Hamad bin Isa Al Khalifa received a cable of congratulations from His Royal Highness the Crown Prince and Prime Minister Prince Salman bin Hamad Al Khalifa on the inauguration of the 4th session of the 6th legislative term of the Shura and Representatives Councils. His Royal Highness hailed His Majesty's speech and its comprehensive principles, which will shape the next phase of comprehensive development, leading to increased progress, prosperity, and the advancement of Bahrain, as well as achieving greater good and prosperity for the country and its citizens. His Royal Highness pledged that His Majesty's directives will always guide all national plans and programs and will serve as a motivation for achievement. His Royal Highness noted that the government is honoured to bear full responsibility for implementing His Majesty's orders and will work to enforce His Majesty's directives and guidance as part of its upcoming priorities. His Royal Highness affirmed that ministries and relevant authorities will be tasked with preserving the national identity, including the principles, moral values, and authentic practices of the Bahraini people, with emphasis placed on scientific and knowledge development, leading to industrial and productive empowerment and diversification as a key contributor to the desired economic growth. His Royal Highness added that future work will take into account Bahrain's modern industrial strength and contemporary service environment, which must be invested in and diversified in terms of technological advancement and through the optimal use of AI technologies. His Royal Highness noted that His Majesty's praise of the government's efforts and support for national efforts in civil and military work are motivation for Team Bahrain in various fields to strive for more dedication in performing their duties and an incentive to continue their service to His Majesty, to raise Bahrain's flag in various regional and international forums and translate His Majesty's vision to consolidate Bahrain's status. His Royal Highness renewed loyalty to His Majesty and implementing His Majesty's directives and visions to achieve progress and prosperity for Bahrain. He prayed to Allah the Almighty to grant His Majesty good health and happiness. His Majesty sent a reply cable of thanks to His Royal Highness and expressed appreciation for His Royal Highness's praise of His Majesty's approach and the national constants, as well as for moving forward on to promote comprehensive development and achieve further progress and prosperity for the people of Bahrain. His Majesty expressed appreciation for the kind sentiments in His Royal Highness's cable, his readiness to translate visions and directives into national programs and projects that achieve the desired goals and objectives. His Majesty affirmed confidence in achieving further successes thanks to the efforts of His Royal Highness and citizens and the strong partnership between the executive and legislative authorities. His Majesty expressed pride in the remarkable achievements and progress made and in His Royal Highness's continuous efforts in all fields to achieve the aspirations of all. His Majesty King Hamad bin Isa Al Khalifa received a cable of congratulations from Her Royal Highness, the wife of His Majesty the King and President of the Supreme Council for Women, Princess Sabika bint Ibrahim Al Khalifa, on the inauguration of the 4th session of the 6th legislative term of the Shura and Representatives Councils. Her Royal Highness praised His Majesty the King's speech, which affirmed the principles and values upon which the National Action Charter is based and the pioneering achievements that have resulted from it, most notably the restoration of political rights to Bahraini women. Her Royal Highness affirmed that the progress and advancements achieved by Bahraini women during the prosperous reign of His Majesty is a source of pride for every Bahraini woman and embodies the support they receive from His Majesty. Her Royal Highness expressed pride in the remarkable achievements of Bahraini women in various fields and at all levels, thanks to His Majesty's vision and guidance, affirming her commitment to continue working in accordance with His Majesty's directives to achieve further gains and ensure the sustainability of Bahraini women's achievements. Her Royal Highness prayed to Allah Almighty to grant His Majesty abundant health and happiness. His Majesty King Hamad bin Isa Al Khalifa received a cable of congratulations from the Speaker of the Council of Representatives, Ahmed Limsallam, in which he conveyed to His Majesty appreciation for the inauguration of the 4th session of the 6th legislative term of the Shura and Representatives Councils. Limsallam affirmed that the Council is guided by the words and directives of His Majesty throughout its parliamentary work to fulfill His Majesty's aspirations and to elevate the nation and serve its citizens. He explained that His Majesty's royal patronage is the primary support for the Council in carrying out its responsibilities and strengthening the determination to perform its duties to the fullest, praying to Allah the Almighty to grant His Majesty good health and happiness. His Majesty King Hamad bin Isa Al Khalifa received a congratulatory cable from the Chairman of the Shura Council, Ali Al Saleh, in which he expressed his deep appreciation and gratitude to His Majesty the King for inaugurating the 4th session of the 6th legislative term of the Shura and Representatives Councils. Al Saleh praised His Majesty's speech on this national occasion, affirming confidence that the next phase of national action, thanks to His Majesty's leadership, comprehensive support and approach, will contribute to the sustainability of the nation's progress, prosperity and advancement. He prayed to Allah the Almighty to grant His Majesty good health and happiness to continue the kingdom's march under His Majesty's leadership. His Majesty King Hamad bin Isa Al Khalifa departed Bahrain, heading to Egypt to lead Bahrain's delegation participating in the Sharm el-Sheikh Peace Summit on the occasion of the agreement to end the war in Gaza and in response to a gracious invitation received by His Majesty from the Egyptian President Abdel Fattah al-Sisi. Among those bidding farewell to His Majesty the King were His Royal Highness Crown Prince and Prime Minister Prince Salman bin Hamad Al Khalifa, the Ambassador of Egypt to Bahrain Reham Abdel Hamid Mahmoud Khalil, and a number of senior officials. His Majesty King Hamad bin Isa Al Khalifa has arrived in Egypt to lead Bahrain's delegation participating in the Sharm el-Sheikh Peace Summit on the occasion of the agreement to end the war in Gaza. His Majesty's participation comes in response to an invitation received by His Majesty from the Egyptian President Abdel Fattah al-Sisi. The summit will be held in the city of Sharm el-Sheikh, Egypt. His Royal Highness the Crown Prince and Prime Minister Bin Salman bin Hamad Al Khalifa congratulated His Majesty King Hamad bin Isa Al Khalifa on Bahrain's Pavilion Connecting Seas, winning the Gold Award at Expo 2025. The award was recognized under the Self-Built Pavilions category for architecture and landscape at Expo 2025 and was presented as part of the official participant awards granted by the International Exhibitions Bureau. His Royal Highness emphasized that this achievement reflects the Kingdom of Bahrain's commitment, led by His Majesty, to strengthening its global presence and cementing its position as a hub for architectural creativity and sustainability. His Royal Highness added that this recognition at Expo 2025 Osaka represents the tireless efforts of Bahraini citizens and their ability to deliver an architectural vision that embodies Bahraini's character through innovation and modernization. His Royal Highness also noted that the Kingdom's ongoing commitment to sustainability and urban development plays an important role in enhancing Bahrain's standing internationally. His Royal Highness expressed appreciation for the efforts of Sheikh Khalifa bin Ahmed bin Abdullah Al Khalifa, President of the Bahrain Authority for Culture and Antiquities, the BACA, and Commissioner General of Bahrain's Pavilion at Expo 2025 Osaka, as well as all authority personnel for their dedication in achieving this national milestone. His Royal Highness commended the role of architect Lina Gotme and the creative vision she presented, which successfully showcased Bahrain's identity through a distinctive architectural style symbolizing innovation and excellence. His Royal Highness underscored that the Bahraini professionals who worked on the Connecting Seas Pavilion demonstrated a forward-looking approach to architecture and sustainable design, bringing to life a creative vision that reflects national identity through innovation and modernity. His Royal Highness wished BACA and its personnel continued success in their endeavors. His Royal Highness the Crown Prince and Prime Minister Bin Salman bin Hamad Al Khalifa sent a cable of condolences to the Emir of Qatar, His Highness Sheikh Tamim bin Hamad Al Thani, following the passing of diplomats from the Qatari delegation in an accident in Sharm el-Sheikh, Egypt. His Royal Highness sent two similar cables to the Deputy Emir of Qatar, His Highness Sheikh Abdullah bin Hamad Al Thani, and the Prime Minister and Minister of Foreign Affairs of Qatar, Sheikh Mohammed bin Abdurrahman bin Jassim Al Thani. His Royal Highness the Crown Prince and Prime Minister Bin Salman bin Hamad Al Khalifa received a congratulatory cable from the Speaker of the Council of Representatives, Ahmed al-Musallam, on the occasion of His Majesty's King Hamad bin Isa Al Khalifa's inauguration of the 4th session of the 6th legislative term of the Shura and Representative Councils. His Royal Highness the Crown Prince and Prime Minister Bin Salman bin Hamad Al Khalifa received a cable of congratulations from the Shura Council Chairman Ali Al-Saleh on the occasion of His Majesty King Hamad bin Isa Al Khalifa's inauguration of the 4th session of the 6th legislative term of the Shura and Representatives Councils. As part of this year's National Tree Week, NTW, His Royal Highness the Crown Prince and Prime Minister Bin Salman bin Hamad Al Khalifa directed the establishment of the Innovation Competition in Irrigation Solutions, aimed at strengthening the utilization of excess treated agriculture and afforestation initiatives. Making the week, His Royal Highness also planted a new tree and watered the tree and had planted during last year's launch of the NTW. The Innovation Competition in Irrigation Solutions supports supports resource sustainability, environmental preservation and the expansion of irrigation networks in line with the Kingdom's comprehensive development led by His Majesty King Hamad bin Isa Al Khalifa. His Royal Highness directed the relevant ministries and authorities to implement efforts related to the winning solution and to oversee its various phases. His Royal Highness emphasized the importance of National Tree Week and similar initiatives in enhancing environmental protection, preserving natural resources and ensuring their sustainability. His Royal Highness highlighted that these efforts help raise public awareness of sustainable practices and contribute to increasing the Kingdom's green spaces. His Royal Highness also reiterated the importance of collaboration across government authorities, civil entities, citizens and residents in advancing the Kingdom's afforestation efforts. His Royal Highness commended the relentless efforts of these involved in implementing the Kingdom's afforestation plan. His Royal Highness outlined that these efforts support the Kingdom's commitment to upholding the highest environmental standards and implementing best practices across development projects in all sectors. This approach reinforces Bahrain's commitment to achieving carbon neutrality by 2060 and building a sustainable future generation. His Royal Highness also stated that these initiatives advance investment in innovative and environmentally sustainable solutions to improve the well-being of citizens and residents and further strengthening the Kingdom's standing as a model of sustainable development. The Deputy Prime Minister Sheikh Khalid bin Abdullah Al Khalifa, the Minister of Finance and National Economy Sheikh Salman bin Khalifa Al Khalifa were also in attendance. The Minister of the Prime Minister's Court, His Highness Sheikh Isa bin Salman bin Hamad Al Khalifa, met with the Minister of Interior and Chairman of the Ministerial Committee for Information and Communication Technology, General Sheikh Rashid bin Abdullah Al Khalifa. The meeting aligns with the vision of His Majesty King Hamad bin Isa Al Khalifa and the directives of His Royal Highness the Crown Prince and Prime Minister bin Salman bin Hamad Al Khalifa, and part of the government priorities framework endorsed by the Cabinet and overseen by the Government Executive Committee, chaired by His Royal Highness. His Highness discussed the Ministry's progress in implementing digital transformation initiatives that support Bahrain's objectives of enhancing public services and meeting citizens' needs more effectively. He highlighted Bahrain's advancements in technical infrastructure, noting its efficiency and capacity as essential to the Kingdom's comprehensive development. His Highness emphasized that digital transformation is crucial for Bahrain's progress, enhancing government service efficiency, effectiveness and security. He also pointed out that adopting innovative digital technologies fosters creativity and drives development, harassing the potential of the latest technologies and smart systems. The Interior Minister expressed gratitude for His Highness's visit and praised the efforts to improve government services for citizens and residents. These initiatives contribute to Bahrain's comprehensive development. Under the leadership of His Majesty and with the support of His Royal Highness positioning Bahrain as a leader in digital transformation, the government priorities framework serves as a strategic roadmap, intensifying efforts and directing resources towards initiatives that benefit citizens who are the cornerstone of Bahrain's progress. These programs aim to promote growth and prosperity across all sectors, aligned with the objectives of Bahrain's comprehensive development. The Council of Representatives held its first procedural session of the fourth regular annual session of the sixth legislative term, presided over by its Speaker Ahmed Limsalem. Limsalem expressed appreciation to His Majesty the King for inaugurating the fourth session of the sixth legislative term. He praised the royal patronage of the Council, the unlimited support for the legislative authority and the cooperation with the executive authority to serve the country and its citizens. He expressed pride and appreciation for the royal speech regarding the development of national action plans for the coming phases. The Speaker expressed appreciation to His Royal Highness the Crown Prince and Prime Minister for his support to achieve the royal aspirations and supporting the growth of the national economy. The Speaker of the Council of Representatives, Ahmed Limsalem, affirmed that the royal speech delivered by His Majesty the King during the inauguration of the fourth session of the sixth legislative term of the Shura and Representatives Councils constitutes a national approach for priorities for action plans for the next phase. Limsalem pointed out that the royal speech reflects His Majesty's insightful vision for the future and represents a roadmap towards achieving the sustainable development goals by Bahrain by adopting the royal directives as part of the upcoming work priorities. This will be a joint track between the legislative and executive branches and to achieve national aspirations. The chairman of the Shura Council, Ali Saleh, presided over the first procedural session of the fourth regular session of the sixth legislative term. The chairman expressed thanks and appreciation to His Majesty the King for inaugurating the fourth session of the sixth legislative term. This was followed by the election of the first deputy speaker of the Shura Council, with Jamal Mohammed Fakhro being nominated for the position. The second deputy speaker of the Shura Council was also elected, with Dr. Jihad Abdullah Al-Fadl being nominated for the position. Saleh then informed the members that a committee will be selected from among the members to prepare a draft response to the royal speech. The chairman of the Shura Council, Ali Saleh, affirmed that the speech delivered by His Majesty the King at the inauguration of the fourth session of the sixth legislative term of the Shura and Representatives Councils embodies His Majesty's approach, as well as the aspirations of His Majesty that outline a bright future and set priorities for national action. He expressed appreciation for His Majesty's continued support and praise for the work of the Legislative Authority, pledging to His Majesty to continue working under His Majesty's leadership in support of the reform and modernization process in light of the prosperous era of His Majesty to achieve the interest of Bahrain and its loyal program. In line with the directives of His Royal Highness the Crown Prince and Prime Minister Bin Salman bin Hamad Al Khalifa to launch this year's Tree Week, Minister of Interior General Sheikh Rashid bin Abdullah Al Khalifa planted a tree at the Special Security Force Command Headquarters in Safra, accompanied by the Governor of the Southern Governorate, His Highness Sheikh Khalifa bin Ali Al Khalifa. The initiative supports the National Afforestation Plan, which aims to plant 3.6 million trees by 2035, in line with Bahrain's goal to achieve carbon neutrality by 2060. The minister emphasized the importance of protecting the environment and increasing public awareness of tree planting as part of Bahrain's commitment to the UN Framework Convention on Climate Change. He noted the ministry's efforts to expand green spaces at its facilities, support environmental initiatives, and strengthen social responsibility. He added that the ministry continues to promote volunteer work and cooperation with relevant entities while implementing initiatives that encourage eco-friendly practices and greater environmental awareness in the community. The Minister of Finance and National Economy and Chairman of Mumtalakat Holding Company, Sheikh Salman bin Khalifa Al Khalifa, attended the closing of the 5th edition of Startup Bahrain Weekend, organized by the Startup Bahrain Initiative, Bahrain's national startup platform supported by Tamkeen. Sheikh Salman bin Khalifa underlined Bahrain's commitment to supporting youth entrepreneurship as a key driver of economic development. He highlighted the rapid growth of the kingdom's entrepreneurial ecosystem and its achievements, supported by His Majesty the King and the government's efforts to implement the directives of His Royal Highness the Crown Prince and Prime Minister to advance economic growth and create quality opportunities for citizens. The minister noted that the Startup Bahrain Weekend initiative is a successful national model that encourages Bahraini youth to innovate and transform ideas into entrepreneurial projects that drive economic growth and enhance Bahrain's competitiveness regionally and globally. He added that startups are among the main engines of the global economy and are expected to generate over 14% of jobs worldwide within the next 5 years. He commended the role of Tamkeen, chaired by the Minister of the Prime Minister's Court and Chairman of the Board of Directors of Tamkeen, His Highness Sheikh Isa bin Salman bin Hamad Al Khalifa, for its support of programs aimed at developing national talent, enhancing entrepreneurship, and advancing an innovation and knowledge-based economy. Sheikh Salman bin Khalifa highlighted the government's efforts to foster a supportive environment for entrepreneurship by facilitating access to funding and simplifying regulations. He noted that Bahrain is ranked among the top startup ecosystems in the Middle East and North Africa, according to the Global Startup Ecosystem Report. An annual competition for students from UOB's College of Business Administration was announced in partnership with Tamkeen. The initiative was launched by the Minister of Education and Chairman of the Board of Trustees of of UOB, Dr. Mohammed bin Mbarak Jum'a, to encourage innovation and entrepreneurship among graduates. For her part, the director of the InvestCorp Innovation Lab at AUBH, Salma Hurray, said that Startup Bahrain Weekend serves as an ideal platform to support high-potential teams, adding that the partnership with Startup Bahrain allows winners to join the Innovation Lab's incubation program. In his speech during the closing ceremony of the 5th edition of the Startup Bahrain Weekend, the Minister of Finance and National Economy affirmed that this event is in line with the royal directives to create special opportunities for Bahraini youth, foster economic empowerment and opportunities, and encourage people to start their own businesses.
I hope that these 54 hours are the beginning of a much longer journey to see that idea turn into a business. And then be able to have that business grow. And when we look today at the top companies in the world, and we look at the Fortune 500 companies and the largest companies by market cap in the world, it's important not to forget that all of those companies started somewhere. You know, how do you make a big company? You start with a small company. And how do you make a small company? You start with an idea. And sometimes it's not necessarily a good idea that you start with, but you start with an idea, and then you speak to people, and you speak to people who are smart, who are knowledgeable, who have had experience in the field, who have good ideas themselves, and you polish that idea. So what started out in some cases as a not so good idea can turn into a better idea, can turn into a good idea, and then you turn it into action, and you turn it into a small company with a couple of friends. And then that grows into a larger company, and eventually it turns into some of the largest companies in the world that we've seen. And in Bahrain, we've created that ecosystem with the guidance and directives of His Royal Highness the Crown Prince, with the strong support of Tamkeen. And what we have done is we have created a chain, and you have now entered that chain by participating in this competition.
The Minister of Education, Dr. Mohammed bin Mbarak Jum'a, announced that starting this year, the Startup Bahrain Weekend will be offered to business school students.
Good evening, everyone. Thank you, Your Excellency Sheikh Salman. This announcement to come right now, I think comes in the right time, especially after we've announced, and I'm sure majority of you have seen and heard, that the University of Bahrain has actually been enlisted on the Times Higher Education ranking, which is a research-based ranking, the most important ranking in the world when it comes to research-based ranking for the universities. His Excellency Sheikh Salman spoke with me like a month ago, and he said, I've got a very nice idea for you at the University of Bahrain, which is to introduce this program for the students of the College of Business at the University of Bahrain. So since that time, we started the discussion with the university, with the College of Business, with Tamkeen as well, and we are proud to announce that starting from this year, inshallah, Startup Bahrain will be introduced to the students of the College of Business at the University of Bahrain. And as an initial step, it will be optional for the students, but starting from next year, inshallah, it will be mandatory and part of the graduation program of the College of Business.
The 5th edition of Startup Bahrain Weekend lasted 54 hours, during which participants attended intensive sessions supervised by more than 20 experts from leading institutions and companies in the kingdom. More in this report.
Inside the American University of Bahrain campus, more than 200 young entrepreneurs, developers, designers, and marketers experienced 54 hours of enthusiasm, creativity, and innovation at the 5th edition of the Startup Bahrain Weekend. Organized by the Startup Bahrain Initiative with support from Tamkeen, the event showcased Bahraini entrepreneurship and enabled young people to turn their ideas into real, scalable, and competitive projects. The participating teams worked on developing their ideas under the supervision of more than 20 experts from leading institutions and companies, resulting in the announcement of the winners, as Humi in first place, Echelon in second, and Best Took in third, while the safety team won the DOO award and the Gymna team won the 9 Dots award. 5 teams stood out, and hundreds of ideas were born in a stimulating environment that reflects the Kingdom of Bahrain's continued support for entrepreneurship and confirms its position as a regional hub for creators and innovators.
The Startup Bahrain Weekend Initiative reflects the Kingdom's keenness to support youth entrepreneurship initiatives and projects, considering them a fundamental pillar of economic development. More in this report.
The Startup Weekend Initiative is one of the most prominent entrepreneurial initiatives in Bahrain, aiming to empower youth and encourage them to turn their innovative ideas into startup projects that support the national economy. The initiative provides an interactive environment that brings together entrepreneurs and innovators to exchange experiences and acquire business startup skills. The support provided by Tamkeen is a key pillar in the success of this initiative, providing funding and guidance programs that enable Bahraini youth to enter the world of entrepreneurship with confidence. This support also reflects Tamkeen's commitment to developing national competencies and building an economy based on innovation and knowledge. The initiative embodies an effective national partnership between public and private sectors to support youth creativity and consolidate Bahrain's position as a regional hub for entrepreneurship in the region.
The Minister of Legal Affairs and Acting Minister of Labour Yusuf Khalaf affirmed that Bahrain continues to consolidate its approach based on investing in Bahraini human resources as the cornerstone of development by promoting human development, which will ensure Bahraini citizens' effective integration into the labour market and enable them to contribute to building a more competitive and sustainable national economy. He praised the speech of His Majesty the King during the inauguration of the 4th session of the 6th legislative term of the Shura and Representatives Council, in which His Majesty praised the important initiative announced by His Royal Highness the Crown Prince and Prime Minister aimed at job seekers and the necessary facilities it includes that open up more job options for citizens. The Minister affirmed that this royal praise reflects the keenness to promote employment opportunities for citizens. He also noted that the royal speech is a beacon that charts the course for the coming phase towards further progress. The Minister explained that since His Royal Highness's directives were issued, the Ministry of Labour had begun taking the necessary executive measures to achieve them. He said that 7,888 interviews were conducted with job seekers registered with the Ministry in preparation for facilitating their access to job opportunities that match their qualifications and aspirations. The Minister noted that the working groups are continuing to implement the leadership's directives and fulfill citizens' aspirations for job stability and active participation in the labour market. The Minister of Information, Dr. Ramzan bin Abdullah Naimi, praised the speech delivered by His Majesty the King during the opening of the 4th session of the 6th legislative term, affirming that it embodied noble visions and directives to develop the national media system in line with digital changes and to enhance freedom of opinion and expression. He expressed happiness that the words of His Majesty represent a comprehensive national roadmap reflecting His Majesty's aspirations for a more prosperous future and affirming confidence in the Bahraini citizen as the centre of development and the cornerstone of the kingdom's era of prosperity. The minister pointed out that the royal speech outlined clear features to consolidate national values, reaffirmed the approach based on consultation and popular participation, and moved towards further development in various fields. He also appreciated what the speech included in terms of praise for the active role of the legislative authority and the direct support it received from His Royal Highness the Crown Prince and Prime Minister. The minister stressed that the integration between the executive and legislative authorities embody the Bahraini model of joint national work to achieve the citizens' aspirations and enhance national achievements. The minister emphasized the Ministry of Information's commitment to continue enhancing the purposeful media message that reflects the values of tolerance, openness and national loyalty, affirming that the ministry will continue to develop various media sectors in accordance with the visions of His Majesty with the follow-up of His Royal Highness. Bahrain's pavilion titled Connecting Seas has won the Gold Award for Best Architecture and Landscape in the Self-Built Pavilions under 1,500 square meters category at Expo 2025, Osaka, Japan. The award, presented by the Bureau International des Expositions, recognizes excellence in pavilion design, creativity and sustainability. The announcement was made during the official award ceremony, which was attended by commissioners general and representatives of participating countries. The President of the Bahrain Authority for Culture and Antiquities, the BACA, and Commissioner General of Bahrain's Pavilion, Sheikh Khalifa bin Ahmed bin Abdullah Al Khalifa, said that the award is a testament to the dedication of Team Bahrain in showcasing the kingdom's vision of blending heritage with innovation. He added that this achievement reflects Bahrain's position as a hub of cultural and architectural creativity in the region. The pavilion embodies sustainable architecture and enriches the visitor experience through sensory journeys that highlight Bahrain's history and civilizational depth. He expressed pride in the National Pavilion at Expo Osaka, affirming that it is an example of sustainable architecture. The BACA president also said that it plays a role in enhancing the visitor experience at the Expo through the sensory experiences it offers, introducing the world to Bahrain's history and cultural depth. The Supreme Council for Environment, the SCE, announced lifting the ban on catching kingfish and on displaying and trading the fish in markets and public places for marketing or sale effective 15th of October, following the end of the designated ban period. The Council said that the seasonal fishing ban was implemented under Decree 20 of 2002 on the regulation, exploitation and protection of marine wealth, in line with the resolutions of the 23rd meeting of the GCC Agricultural Cooperation Committee. The SCE affirmed that the ban on catching kingfish during the breeding season, which was on the 15th of August to the October 15th, aimed to enhance fish stocks by regulating fishing practices and preventing the depletion of fisheries. The SCEs commended the cooperation and national sense of responsibility demonstrated by fishermen throughout the ban period. They also urged all parties to continue complying with existing regulatory measures and to support efforts aimed at preserving and sustaining Bahrain's marine resources.